I chat once again with Dr. Mondo, who is going to answer a few of your questions. By trade, you are a therapist, correct?
That's right, licensed
Armando,
marriage and family therapist.
all right,
Yes.
Armando Gonzalez, and so known as Dr. Mondo around this area here. So I want to know if are different personalities reacting to this differently than others?
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I think, as we talked about in that first segment, it's just personality traits are going to dictate probably how you initially respond to the news that comes out. One thing I'll caution against is that, this is a time where we need to practice some compassion for one another. It doesn't necessarily determine, how you initially respond, whether or not you're a good person. I think a lot of the discourse on social media suggests that. The reality is some people naturally just respond to the unknowns a bit differently, and that does depend on personality types.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Mondo, what's the silver lining here?
The silver lining is this, that look, it takes something like this to get us all grounded, and literally, a lot of us practicing, of course, the social distancing that's being suggested. So we have an opportunity to press pause on life. We're one of the most distracted societies, and in the history, if not the most distracted society. This is an opportunity for us to have a lot of our distractions taken away. Sports is on hold. A lot of events are on hold.
Yeah.
Take a look at your life and, really take assessment of all areas of your life, your health, your relationships, your long-term plan, your spirituality, your self-care. All of that is exposed in times like this.
Okay, so Dr. Mondo, we have about a minute left. We want to ask you a few questions. We opened this up to viewers to see if they had any questions for you. Kimberly wants to know, I've been having bad anxiety attacks over all of this. She hasn't had one in years. She's sick to her stomach over all of this. What can you say to that?
Yeah, I could say that, first of all, having gone through stuff like that myself, I feel for you big time, Kimberly. And one of the things that I think we need to practice here is more self-care practices. So whatever it was that you were doing in times where you were like that was a bit more under control, whether it's reaching out to your therapist, reaching out and considering again at times like this, if you ever tried an antidepressant, it might be a good time to get back on that. It's not always the first response, but it's something to consider. But then also too, connection. A lot of times the monologues in our head when we're under the influence of fear, anxiety, and panic lead to negative conclusions. The dialogue that we have with one another really can produce some hope and optimism. So I would suggest those things.
Okay, now Dr. Mondo, Cheryl says, for kids, they might be experiencing anxiety from hearing it all from their parents, maybe even watching the news. So what would you recommend, or what would you say or do with your kids who are equally experiencing some anxiety?
Well, kids take their cues from parents. And so if parents are really feeling a lot of fear and panic, kids are going to pick up on that, regardless of how old they are. They'll pick up on that energy. They'll pick up on those cues. So, again, it's important that we are doing what we need to do as a society to be cautious, but it's also important, too, to remain calm. And so we need to first ground ourselves as parents, and then our kids will take that lead. And it's also probably a good time to practice a bit of boundaries, too, with kids. Kids don't need to be exposed to a 24-hour news cycle around this stuff, nor do we really, for that matter.
Got it. Except for Good Day's different because we have fun on this show as well.
Yeah, and this is actually where a dose of Good Day is good for you. It's going to help you feel that balance, that calm, that peace. And
we are trying.
Yeah, yes. Awesome. Dr. Armando Gonzalez, thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, we hope you can join us maybe next weekend, too. We'll check in with you, okay? All right, thank you so much. And his name is Armando Gonzalez.